Well, hello, small groups. Hope you guys are having a great week. Listen, we say it all the time. Our mission as a church is to love people where they are and then to encourage them to grow in their relationship with Jesus Christ. Well, one of the ways that we grow in our relationship with Jesus Christ is by connecting intentionally with others in community. Well, great job. You've taken a great first step to connect intentionally with your small group here. But another aspect of connecting intentionally is to connect with others who are also outside of the church and to look for opportunities to love them where they are as well. But check this out. As a church, we've got a super easy opportunity coming up the weekend of July 2nd and 3rd. We are canceling all of our services across all of our campuses at Hope Community Church to give you an opportunity to connect intentionally with your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. Everybody knows that July 4th weekend is the time to throw a cookout, to hold a block party, to have a barbecue. And so here's the simple ask. Spend some time right now in your small group and think through three things. Where do we want to have a cookout? All right, where do we want to have a party? Where do we want to have a barbecue? Where are we going to do this thing? Secondly, who are we going to invite? Write down some names that you know would be interested in coming and hanging out and just doing what you know they're already going to do somewhere on that weekend. And then third, decide what you're going to eat, and that's a big decision. But spend some time working through these details and commit together as a group July 4th weekend of connecting intentionally with other people who might be far from God and who may never have an opportunity to hear the life-changing message of Jesus Christ without someone being intentional in their relationship with Him. You guys work through these details together, and then I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Mike as he talks to you about this week's message-based curriculum in our series, Meet the Gospel.
Well, we just wrapped up the fourth week of our series. We're calling Meet the Gospel. We're in the book of Romans, and we made the transition this week. Paul finally quit talking about how bad we are. He finally quit talking about the depravity of man, and he turned the corner and he went back to the gospel. And actually this weekend, we began to focus on the doctrine or the theology of the gospel. We talked about some big Christian words. We talked about righteousness. We talked about justification. But my favorite is propitiation. That's just a great word normally you only talk about in seminary. But a great truth for all of us to understand and to really appreciate the gospel. The fact that when Jesus died, not only did it satisfy God's need for justice, it also satisfied God's desire to resent us. And we never think of God resenting us or not wanting to be in a relationship with us, but He was so hurt, He was so broken when mankind disobeyed Him that He resented us. We saw that in Genesis chapter 6. But when Jesus died, it satisfied that, and now we get to be His friend. In fact, you know what Paul said in Romans chapter 8? Whereby we cry, Abba, Father. In other words, Daddy. I mean, have you ever thought of God as Daddy? This idea that you can approach Him, how appropriate for Father's Day weekend, that you can approach Him, you can crawl up on His lap, and you can refer to Him as Daddy. It doesn't get any better than that. Let me just ask you, how would it change your Christian life today if you begin to see the Father as Daddy, as your friend, other than the judge or one who wants to get revenge? I'm telling you, that's the gospel. That's propitiation. That's what Jesus did for us. I hope as you sit in a small group this week and you talk about this stuff, it will explode in your mind, but it'll get from here to here so that it actually begins to transform not only your life, but your relationship with God, made possible through the gospel, made possible through Jesus Christ. Have a great week.